Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm compiling another set of scenario-based question for Salesforce admin and developer. So you can expect these type of question in an interview. So let's go and get started. So question one, the support team wants cases to be automatically closed if they remain in the resolve status for more than 7 days. How would you implement this? In order to meet this requirement, I'll go with the time-based flow. I'll build a record triggered flow and add a criteria there. Status equals to resolved and resolved date is 7 days, and add an action to update the case status to close. And then I'll test with dummy cases to ensure they are closing after 7 days in the sandbox environment. Once that is working fine, I'll push the changes in the production environment, and I'll inform a business user about this flow. And I'll periodically check time based on the workflows to confirm they are executing as expected. Question two, when a contact is created, email field must match the domain field on the related account. How do you enforce this? In order to meet this requirement, I'll create a validation rule on the contact object. I'll go with the contain function, and I'll provide the domain field that is available on the account object and compare with the email, and followed by the not operators. So basically that will ensure that context with the matching email domains can be saved while other display an error. Once that is working fine in the sandbox environment, I'll notify user about the new validation rule to avoid any confusion. Question 3, a high priority case has not been addressed within 24 hours. How do you notify the manager? In order to meet this requirement, I'll create an escalation rule, and where I'll set the criteria where the priority is high and case last modified date is greater than 24 hours. Then I'll define an action after setting the criteria, send an email alert to the manager, and I'll test the rule in the sandbox environment, and see escalation is done after 24 hours and notifying the manager. And lastly, I'll regularly reviewing the escalated cases to ensure it's handling properly. Question 4, user should not be able to enter non-business email addresses, example Gmail, Yahoo, into the email field. How do you enforce this? Again, I'll go ahead with the validation rule for this requirement, and I'll use contain function where I'll compare email with the domain that user is providing, and I'll followed by the OR operator. So I'll use everything in the OR operator, and if any of these meeting the criteria, it should show error message to the user. And then I'll once that is configured in the sandbox environment, I'll validate this rule, and once that is working fine in the sandbox environment, I'll push the changes in the production instance, and then I'll inform user about this validation rule to avoid any confusion. uh, Question 5, different team requires different layouts for the account object. How do you set this up? So to meet this requirement, I'll go ahead with the record types. I'll create record types for each team. Example, enterprise account, small business account, and I'll be creating different page layouts, and I'll assign different layouts to each record type based on the team requirement, and set the default record types. So I'll be configuring the profile so user default to the correct goes to the correct record type, and verify. Then last thing is that I'll be verifying the changes that I have configured in the sandbox environment. The user see the correct layout while creating or editing the records. Question 6, a project team needs a space to collaborate and share updates. How do you facilitate this? I'll create a chatter group and set up a new private chatter group for the project. Then I'll add members to that group and enable notification, encourage members to enable notification for important updates, and pin key documents or link to the top of the group for easy access. Question 7, the organization wants to archive opportunities that were closed more than 5 years ago to improve system performance. How do you handle this? Um, I will, identify records first. I'll run a report to identify opportunity which are closing more than 5 years ago. Then I'll export a data using any tool like data loader or ETL tool to export this record for a backup. And then I'll take an action on the exported data, use a data archival tool, or delete the records after ensuring they are securely backed up. And I'll check the system performance after doing this activity, confirm to the team like once it is completed. Question 8, a custom field discount region should only be visible when the discount field is greater than 100%. How do you set this up? So in order to meet this requirement, I'll use dynamic forms that is available in Lightning. So add the discount region field to the page layout and set the visibility condition there where the discount is greater than 10%. Or in the classic version, I'll use the page layout and create a separate page layout for the high discount scenario and assign it based on the criteria or profile and ensure the field displays only under the correct conditions. Question 9, user reports that data is being lost during an automated flow process. How do you troubleshoot this issue? So in order to troubleshoot this issue, I will enable debug logs for the affected user and examine the flow execution steps. Check if the critical data is being overwritten or skipped due to incorrect logic. And I'll add a fault path and error messages to catch and log issues in the flow. And I'll fix correct any misconfiguration and test with the sample records, and make sure that I'll periodically review the flow's performance to prevent future issues. This is the last question. Question 10. The picklist industry on the accounts has inconsistent values due to manual entry over the years. How do you clean it up? So first I'll run a report to identify all unique values in the industry pick list. Then update the pick list field to include only the approved value, and I'll use data loader to update existing records with the standardized value. And fourthly, I'll mark the pick list as restricted to prevent any unauthorized entries. And lastly, I will notify the user about the updated picklist values and how to use them to the business users. So this concludes, this video of scenario-based question. So please let me know if you have any question or if you have any feedback. Let me know. I'll be happy to help you. Thanks for connecting with me, and I'll catch you up in my next video.